Thank you, Bridgette, and thank you for everybody who has made today possible. As she mentioned, it takes a lot of work, a lot of volunteerism, which is the backbone of our town. And as I made as an appeal last Monday, we do need more volunteers for this town. So in order to have events like this, that's what makes it work. So again, thank you, and thank everybody that made it happen today, but also for our great weather. And I'm assuming at this point everybody can hear me. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Captain Showstead at this point to continue on with our festivities today.
Thank you, Selectman Smith. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. If you could please join me now for a moment of silence. Thank you. At this time, we ask anyone who is able, if you could please rise. Please stand for those who can't. Remove your hats and join for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please continue to stand as Maggie Maresco, music director, leads the Dennett Elementary School Chorus in our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, what the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave truth to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Amazing job, everybody. At this time, we're going to turn it back over to our Memorial Day speaker, Selectman Dana Smith.
Thank you, Captain. On April 19th, 1775, 250 years ago last month, around 70 militia mustered on a green in Lexington, not unlike this one, to stand in defense of British tyranny against approximately 700 British regulars. These were citizen soldiers from all walks of life defending their community. That tradition of soldiering has continued to this day. 8 colonists died on Lexington Green that fateful day leading to the American Revolution. As we reflect today, let us remember the purpose of this day. Not to honor the living, and not to those who have served or are serving still, but, as President Lincoln said in his Gettysburg Address, those who gave their last full measure of devotion in defense of our country. It is their sacrifice that we remember and honor today. My father was a World War II Army infantryman captured by the Germans during the Battle of the Bulge in 1944 and held as a POW until the end of the war. The POW MIA movement was begun in 1979 in response to issues arising from the Vietnam War. This led to more recognition of these soldiers' sacrifices, as many didn't return home or have their remains found or returned, adding to an already divisive national issue. In November of 1985, President Ronald Reagan created the POW Medal. On this day, we take time to remember those POWs who did not return home. On this day, we take time to remember the MIAs, missing in action, that never returned. Plympton has two very significant veterans, Deborah Sampson, who dressed as a man to fight during the American Revolution, and Samuel Cole Wright, who fought and was wounded in many battles during the American Civil War and received the Medal of Honor at the Battle of Antietam, the bloodiest day in American history. However, both of them returned home. Sampson to settle in Sharon, and Wright back home to Plympton, where he had a family and ran the general store across from this green. They returned to their lives. Today, we need to take time to reflect on the ultimate sacrifices of those who did not return. At our Memorial Day commemoration here in Plympton, we traditionally honor all veterans on this day by reading the names of all Plympton veterans. We do not have a separate Veterans Day or Armed Forces Day commemoration. I feel it important that we do this, as all who served or are serving need to be recognized for their sacrifices. We should also recognize and honor those who came home wounded, either physical, mental, or both. However, I feel we should never forget those that made the ultimate sacrifice and last full measure of devotion in defense of our freedom. That has always been the intent of this day and why our flag is flown at half-staff until noon today. On this solemn occasion, we need to reflect upon our past and the debt we owe to those who have gifted us our future. On the 11th hour of the 11th month in 1918, the armistice agreement to end the war to end all wars, World War I, was signed in France. As we are all aware, wars did not end. Soldiers still fight today, lest we forget. Thank you for your time and attention. At this time, I would like to acknowledge the current recipient of the Boston Cane, Inez Murphy. As you may know, in August of 1909, the publisher of the Boston Post newspaper forwarded to all the boards of selectmen in New England a gold-headed ebony cane with a request that it be presented to the oldest citizen of the town as a sign of respect. At this time, I would like to introduce Kathy Ferguson of the Memorial Day Committee to read the names of our town veterans, past and present.
Thank you, Chairman Smith. Vinnie Amoni, Army. Jared Anderson, Army. John Anderson, Army. Jack Andrews, Army. Arthur Belville, Jr., Army. William Benavides, Navy. Lawson H. Billings, Marines. Thomas Bowes, Navy and Marines. Bruce Bradford, Navy. David Brown, Air Force. Frank P. Bush, Navy Seabees. Irv Butler, Army. Dean Chadbourne, Army. Wes Chadbourne, Coast Guard. David Chandler, Army. Elliot Chandler, Army. Charles Chase, Army. Paul Columby, Marines. Bruce Conant, Navy. Jacob Cook, Navy. Roger Crocker, Navy. Tim Dempsey, Marines. Robert Cushman, Navy. James Denman, Navy. David Detterman, Navy. Ronald Drolet, Sr., Navy. John Enright, Air Force. Kevin Follis, Marines. Daniel Ferguson, Navy. Jacob Ferguson, Navy. John Ferguson, Air Force. Norman James Butch Ferguson, Army. Norman John Ferguson, Sr., Army. Ward Ferguson, Army. James Furlot, Marines. Zach Flood, Air Force. Joe Freitas, Army. Charles Fuller, Navy. Fred Fuller, Navy. Megan Gagnon, Navy. Chris Ganley, Navy. Eileen Ganley, Navy. Patrick Ganley, Marines. David Garceau, Navy. Vincent Gillespie, Navy. Bob Gillette, Air Force. Richard Grigorenko, Air Force. Mark Hallfinger, Air Force. Rick Hallfinger, Air Force. Bill Hayes, Army. Paul Heideke, U.S. Naval Reserve. Ian Hickey, Army. John Himmicky, Navy. Jocelyn Holmes, Navy. Robert Holt, Navy. Robert Jacobson, Air Force. Clifford Jordan, Navy. Donald Joy, Marines. Sylvester Daniel Joy, Navy. Sylvester Daniel Joy, Jr., Army. Jeff Joyce, Army. Bob Carling, Navy. Barbara Kierstead, Army and Air National Guard. Edward W. Kierstead, Army. Gloria Kierstead, Air Force. James E. Kierstead, Army. Robin Kierstead, Air Force. Rufus W. Kierstead, Army. Russell Kierstead, Air Force. David Kanicolas, Marines. William King, Army. Steve Lewis, Army. Paul Lizell, Navy. Steve Lyons, Navy Seabees. Alan McCormick, Army. Alex McDonald, Air Force. Scott McLeod, Army. David Medeiros, Marines. Mario M. Martins, Navy. Carl Matheson, Army Air Force. Edward McCabe, Army. Robert McManus, Marines. Robert Milbury, Navy. Edward Miller, Navy. Jeffrey Montello, Marines. Robert Randolph Montgomery II, Army. David Morris, Navy. Jay Morris, Navy. Frank Moulton, Army. David Murphy, Marines. David Murphy, Jr., Navy. Neil Murphy, Navy Seabees. Arthur O'Callahan, Air Force. Chase Perkins, Marines. Mike Perkins, Marines and Coast Guard. Robert Peters, Army National Guard. John Pettengill, Navy. Richard Proctor, Army. Kevin Rafferty, National Guard. Raymond Reed, Army. Doug Reese, Army. Richard Reynolds, Army. Conrad Russell, Navy. Richard Ruxton, Navy Seabees. Eric Sales, Army. Carl Sales, Army. Peter Schultz, Navy. Eugene F. Seaver, Navy. Richard Shire, Navy. Doris Silva, Coast Guard. Christine Snow, Army. Clint Stetson, Navy. William B. Stinchfield, Jr., Navy. Charlene Stober, Air Force. Alec Thompson, Marines. Gary Thompson, Air Force. Jim Thompson, Army. Jeremy Toohey, Army. Wesley Tunks, Army. Al Vautrinot, Navy. Donald Vautrinot, Army. Patrick Vitt, Marines. Robert Wadsworth, Air Force. John H. Walker, Air Force. Edmund A. Wollaston, Jr., Navy. John Wollaston, Navy. Robert Wollaston, Army. Our Veterans Agent, Roxanne Whitbeck, Navy. Howard White, National Guard. Ira White, Air Force. William L. Lanny White, Air Force and Army National Guard. Harry Weichel Jr., Marines. Rebecca Wilder, Navy. Charles Winslow, Navy Seabees. Samuel Cole Wright, Army. Edward Urowitz, Marines. And Daniel L. Zentz, Air Force. I would like to introduce Molly Mahoney, who has the winning essay, What Memorial Day Means to Me.
For Memorial Day, I don't go to parties or parades or cemeteries. For Memorial Day, I may occasionally go to my Nana and Papa's house and have a little barbecue if the weather is nice, or just hang around. For Memorial Day, I thank my veteran Papa for his service in the Navy and take a moment to try and feel what others feel on this day of honor, gratitude, and remembrance. For Memorial Day, I hug my mom, poke my brother, and bake with my dad, just like any other free day. But Memorial Day is a bit quieter. For Memorial Day, the air seems heavier, like the world is holding its breath, taking a moment to mourn, just like millions of others. For Memorial Day, I don't cry. I smile, laugh, and say hi to my friends. It makes the day less sad, less quiet, more like a day to celebrate military personnel that died, with smiles that can shine sun through the clouds overcasting the day. For Memorial Day, I know it's hard for lots of people when they remember and hurt for the loved ones they lost. But for me, I'm just thankful that my amazing Papa made it home. For Memorial Day, I think that some people need a hug or a good cry or someone to just smile to make their day. Others, like me, try to imagine the hurt, the pain, and activate our empathy for others. For Memorial Day, mine is unlike others.
Thank you, Molly. Next, I would like to introduce Sophia Murray, who's going to recite both in Flanders Field and the Gettysburg Address.
In Flanders Field the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the lark still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Field. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep through poppies blow in Flanders Field. Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether the nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can longer endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives and that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little know, nor long remember, that we will say here, but I can never forget that what they did. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here higher resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Thank you, Sophia. At this time, I would like to call forward Boy Scouts Henry Basari, Lucas Gainey, and Austin McPherson, who will place the wreaths accompanied by taps. Thank you, gentlemen. On behalf of the Memorial Day Committee, Bridgette and I would like to thank all of our parade participants and the volunteers who made this event possible. Kim Adams, Vicki Alberti, Deb Anderson from the Plympton Halifax Express, Cheryl Birch, DRK Mobile Toilets, Dennett Elementary School, Dean Jafarian, Nesrela Farm in Halifax, Plympton Fire Department, Plympton Library Director Mike Slauson, the Plympton Police Department, the Plympton Highway Department, Keith Halfinger and Keelan Smith of Sunrise Gardens, Scott Sawchuk from Sawchuk Farms, Gary Thompson, Thompson Tree Service, and Roxanne Whitbeck, Plympton Veterans Agent. I would now like to introduce Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Dana Smith, for closing remarks.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. You are all invited to join the parade participants as they march to the cemetery behind the church to conclude our ceremony. You are also invited to join us for the following events after the ceremony. The Plympton Fire Department is hosting a Touch a Truck event at the fire station. The Firefighters Association will be serving hamburgers, hot dogs, chips, and drinks. There is also a Make Your Own Memorial Day button craft and Make Your Own ice cream sundaes at the Plympton Library. Antique vehicles and Plympton Highway Department equipment will be on display in the townhouse parking lot. Once again, this is going to conclude our part of what we've done today, and it is great to see everybody here and be in support of what we do here in the town. And once again, I thank all the volunteers that make today and help to make this whole town run. They're the unsung heroes of this town, and we owe them a great debt. Thank you again for being here, and enjoy the events and enjoy the beautiful weather. Thank you, folks.